questions. I just want to, from our staff, from our team, and from our program, send prayers and condolences to all the people in Kansas City. It just disgusts me. It doesn't even upset me. It's worse than that. What's going on, and wish I knew the reasons. I wish I knew what started it, but to break away these celebrations and not be able to enjoy them with your family and your kids sickens me. So I want to make sure that from all of us to all of them, the families, the ones that lost their life, the ones that are still in the hospital, thoughts and prayers are with them. And the second thing is, it's also disturbing to me. I don't get into other people's business, but I feel for Chris Holtman and what's gone on there. Again, I don't know all the circumstances. I just know it was 5 years he was in the NCAA tournament. Right now, we're all going through a tough time as far as figuring out whether you want to take freshmen or whether you want to take transfers. And it's really hard to navigate for all of us. And that's another thing that saddens me is that I think because of all this stuff, coaches are going to lose their jobs. And I've always stuck up for coaches, so I actually am good friends with the AD down there, but I just don't like what's going on for coaches in general. And that's all I have to say about that. So now the questions.
Tom, is Michigan kind of pretty much a different scout there when you're playing them at home?
Yeah, they're a completely different team. I mean, you guys know it. It's been a strange year for him. I sympathize with him on this standpoint. You got your best player out in half the games, out half the games. It's got to be very, very, very difficult. Something most of us never ever gone through, so it's hard to say. But what I think is important is you look at every game, including our game. They were up at halftime. Every game, they've been in 90% of them. The Illinois game was the exception to the rule, and just couldn't find a way to win one. And then they beat Wisconsin, and this is a rivalry game, which means nothing matters, but it's as far as record, but it's even magnified because of a player that's playing now that is their leading scorer, is their best player, and hasn't played in half the games on the road. So yeah, it's a very difficult time, I'm sure, for them, but it's also a difficult time for the teams playing them, trying to figure out which team they're going to get.
After you went back through last night's tape, feel any differently, better or worse?
I just need more consistency with the energy, and you're a team now. We must be the greatest team in America to take players that are shooting terrible, and the one kid, Kern, goes 2 for 2. They bring the kid off Johnson, he goes 2 for 2. The other kid is a good shooter, he goes 4 for 5 or 5 for 6, but they go 9 for 10 out of 3 or 4 players, and I am a little concerned because we have not guarded the 3 as well in the last 2 weeks. Michigan is a good 3-point shooting team at times, and but just in general, I think that's a lack of closing out right. Just kind of not just a step off, and that's what I'd say. We weren't 2 steps off, we were a step off, and teams took advantage of that, and that's disappointing, just like it was at Minnesota. So hopefully we're trying to correct that.
Tom, we saw with about 6 minutes left, we saw Penn State working their way back in. What's harder, to keep a lead or to fight to get a lead?
If I lose the game, it's harder to keep a lead, like at Minnesota. If I win a game, it's harder to go the other way. So that's a coach's BS. But, especially when you're on the road, if you're trying to come back, if you're trying to hold the lead and momentum goes their way, it really rocks the place. And I thought for the most part, we were in sort of total control that game, but we played good enough to win it by 20. And, they hit 2 threes in the last minute. But those are the things that this team has to mature and get better at if we're going to get better. So I don't know what is harder. I just know that when the crowd starts getting into a game, if they're leading and you're coming back, their crowd doesn't get into the game. And so I'd say it's probably harder when you have a lead and make a couple of bad plays or a bad shot. They hit a couple of threes and the place starts rocking.
You were really talking about it last night. You guys had that momentum swing there, and then AJ fouled on the three. That was one of those plays that it seemed like you were upset about because of that reason.
Very well read on your part. Very well
I think we may have heard you upstairs a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's those kind of plays that can change. I mean, we did some of that at Nebraska. We did some of that at Minnesota. And when those things happen and you lose a game, you realize that even if you win the game, is that really what you want? Should you make plays like that? Is that
margin of error kind of?
Yeah, and is that experience aggressive, or is that experience lack of aggression, or is that non-experience? Like I expect Book or maybe Cohen to do something like that. I don't expect my seniors to do something like that.
Jaden, when we talk about leaking consistent, seems like Jaden is starting to get there as well from three-point. Can that unlock a different thing for you, level for you guys moving down the stretch?
Yeah, the only thing, I was really proud of Jaden, and I thought for the most part took a lot of good shots. We moved the ball well. Malik made a lot of big plays. I felt bad for Tyson, break that 35-game streak, and to me it was more self-inflicted. I didn't think he was ready to shoot a lot of times, and we need him. If he's open, he's got to shoot it. So I talked to him about that today, and we were running early, and AJ should have had a few more assists. We would have made some plays on the other end, and then the second half, I just didn't think we ran the same. So consistency is still what I'm looking for.
Jaden, does he lift you guys? Can you lift you guys ceiling when he's shooting like this a little bit?
Well, yeah, it was like what was the other
where you really start heating up
6 or 7 or something, 3. Yeah, so whatever it was. I don't think there's any question that Jaden is as good a deep shooter as we got, and if we can ever get him and Tyson at the same time, and AJ doing what a good point guard does, and that's get it to those guys with Malik playing better, and then center by committee. It's not always pretty, but we're starting to get more points and more rebounds out of that position. That's how we'll get better.
Have you seen progress overall with your break, though, the last couple games, especially getting Carson involved in some of those last night?
The what now?
Yeah, Cooper involved in some of those plays last night.
The breaks?
Yeah,
our bigs are starting to run. We didn't feel like they did a very good job running, and they're starting to run more, and they realize if they run, they'll get the ball. AJ will give the ball up, and Trey made a couple of really nice passes. Even our wings, Tyson makes a great run out, then goes for it one hand. He goes out of bounds. It's a layup. Jaden got one. Cohen got one. I think Cohen can do that on a regular basis. So it's just a matter of keep getting those guys more reps and keep getting a little more consistent.
Tom, you've been emphasizing the consistency. Any concern about complacency? You had 2 wins, you beat Michigan at home, and now you're going down there. Is there ever concern about,
there's always concern with this team. And I say that not insulting to my own team. I say it because I think that's where leadership, that's why I say, like right now they go to the locker room, they should be talking about the Michigan game. They go up to eat, they should be talking about the Michigan game. They go up for a film session, that should be on their minds, and if you get complacent with our record on our rivalry because you won 2 in a row, we're in trouble. I think it's not beyond the realm, and that's what I worry about.
Jaden said about the team needs to play desperate.
Yeah, we're better off. AJ needs to play desperate. He's better off when he plays desperate. The team needs to do that. I think we're better off when we do it. So hopefully we'll start doing it.
This team this year, you've coached a lot of different teams, but where does the concern level compare to previous years? Like, are you always this concerned at this point in the season?
I'm the eternal pessimist, and I'm always looking for us to be better. So I probably am. What's a little different this year is the ups and downs of some of it is just It can even happen within a game, and that's why I blame me. I got to do a better job at get that, and we got to get to our leaders and do a better job in that area. We are working on it. We are getting better. It's just not to the level I'd like it with those 3-4 upperclassmen that are so valuable and good for us. And if they ever start clicking at the same time together, then I think we could be every bit as good as we thought we could be.
Anything else, folks?
Go ahead.